Bitcoin is in a setup right now that absolutely just cannot be ignored, so I have to bring it to your attention because we could be looking at this taking Bitcoin all the way up. It doesn't even fit on the chart up to that $81,000 level, which you guys know is a big deal for me because right now I've been looking for reasons in this market since we dropped down to this level to become more bullish on a long-term scale. Now, short-term, I still 100% think that the market can drop down to that $42,000 low, potentially even a little bit lower. But for the real trend of this chart right now, I'm seeing huge signs that we could be ready to blow up, and I want to break this down for you right now because there's just so many similarities here that you can't ignore it at this point. It is screaming at me to bring it up to you guys. And really what I have to draw your attention to is how, you know, a lot of people, you guys remember on this YouTube channel, those of you who are already subscribed, we were getting bearish at the top right here where you're supposed to get bearish, and getting bullish down at the bottom over here. And it's similar to what happened right here, right? I mean, you know, we feel a lot of pain when the market drops, and that's I give you this analogy of like being stabbed in the chest with a dagger, and then that dagger, that knife is being twisted and twisted, and that's like the salt being rubbed on the wound while you're already trading at a significantly lower level, and now that, you know, time is just moving forward and nothing is happening, so it feels absolutely terrible. We're not getting any relief, and you guys even remember I was calling for this relief rally right here, right into the resistance zone. Bam, no surprise, we ended up dropping right back down. I wanted this to ride it a little bit higher, but that's completely fine. The fact that we didn't get a chance to do that, because really what we're forming right now is a pattern very similar to right here, and there's quite a few key things that I have to draw to your attention. But just real quick, I want to switch this over to the 4-hour time frame, where it's a little bit of a shorter time frame right here, and just show you some of the key patterns that Bitcoin was forming on this chart right here. I mean, this is absolutely huge. It's crazy, guys. Take a look at this. Bitcoin was forming a kind of falling wedge pattern that looked a little bit like this, and I mean, you can draw it in all sorts of ways. It doesn't really matter, but the broad the big idea here is that Bitcoin was essentially, you know, trading down and then trading down slowly, and it managed to get a breakout, but only something that I would actually call a swing failure pattern, where and this is a very important thing, as a lot of people are talking about this in the market right now, especially the more advanced traders. Swing failure patterns, where essentially what we're doing is we're sweeping a high and we look like we're getting a breakout, but then we don't, and so that swing fails and it drops right back down into a more bearish pattern, and that's where we get these swing failure patterns coming from. And Bitcoin has done the same thing just here as well, right? I mean, if you take a look at the similarities here, there's so many. Just stick with me here while I show these to you. But we had a very, very similar situation right here on this chart quite recently, where Bitcoin was trending down and entered a falling wedge, and bam, got that swing failure pattern, and we're right back down again, and really just illustrating to us that actually we could be looking for, and this is something that I know you're not going to like to hear, because I'm basically telling you this could get a lot more boring, but you'll see why I don't think that's the case, right? I mean, this market is so hot in other directions right now. The altcoins have been very, very exciting. I've been telling you guys about VPAD that I was in. 𝗧𝗙𝗏, by the way, guys, this is a huge thing. I've been talking to you guys about 𝗧𝗏 for quite some time. They actually launched like in 2 days, and if you want to be able to get some free 𝗧𝗏 tokens, this is really blowing up, guys. I want to draw your attention to what happened with VPAD, right? I mean, it's literally the last time I told you guys about a coin that I think is really going to pop off. It was VPAD, and VPAD was trading right the way down here, under $1, and it's now trading at $2. And I just want to give you an idea of the time frames, right? This is 9 days later. 9 days later, the coin literally pulls a fucking two times return. And the reason that coins like VPAD, this coin launched by Crypto and CryptoMo, are blowing up so much, and the reason that I think 𝗧𝗏 is going to blow up so much as well, is that these projects have so much hype behind them right now. Like, guys, people are twiddling their fucking thumbs, not knowing what to do in this market, and we've got these altcoins that are starting off really small. Like, you need to get this right here, is that these coins have started off from very small levels, and that's why they're blowing up so much, forming actually quite bullish patterns, right? It's formed 2 ascending triangles right here. It's now forming actually potentially a descending triangle, so this one could be a little bit more bearish, but it could also be a falling wedge. It could also be a bull flag. It's too early to say right now, but the point is that these coins, I think, are blowing up in large part due to the hype that's surrounding them, and 𝗧𝗏, I think, is another shot at this, right? So this to me is looking very exciting, and like I said, it's launching in literally 2 days. It's tradable on Bybit. You guys know that this is the only exchange that I use, and if you want to gain access to it, bam, there's a link in the description down below, where when you sign up, you can get up to $4,100 completely free of charge using my referral link. All you got to do is sign up using that link and make your first Bitcoin deposit, And there's also going to be some steps which I'll put in Telegram for how you can get some free Casta tokens. I think it's like, it's got to be like thousands of dollars of Casta tokens. I forgot how much, but you're talking at like about something like maybe $10,000 in free bonuses by signing up to Bybit and getting those Casta tokens. If you want to check it out, I'm going to leave those instructions down in the Telegram channel, which you can find by clicking on the first link in the description down below. I don't want to talk about it in this video right now. I want to keep this focused on Bitcoin, but this is a huge thing. I told you guys that I was buying VPAD, and I've obviously seen a really nice return on it. It's the same thing for Casta right now, ladies and gents. I think that it is going to perform really well, the same, if not even better, and so I am very excited for it. So keep an eye for that out on this YouTube channel. But moving back to I'm sorry, on Bybit, but moving back to the Bitcoin chart right here, what I really want to keep drawing your attention to just for the minute is how, I feel like Bitcoin could be in for a little bit of a range where it ends up, kind of testing that low again. If we take a look at what happened right here, we were in that small kind of falling wedge. We got the swing failure pattern, which is right here, and then we ended up swinging down to the previous low. We actually swept that low briefly, which could mean, perhaps dropping down to say $41,000, right? If you take a look at where this would put us, that would put us at say, I mean, I'm just giving you an example of what could happen, and then we get a very quick recovery back, and it looks absolutely dog shit, perhaps swing down again, and we get a breakout, right? It doesn't have to happen in similar time frames. It can take a lot less time. It can take a lot more time. That is not necessarily the point, but the point is that we're trading around this range. We're getting breakouts that look real but don't turn out to be real, and obviously this is upsetting a lot of traders. And really, what's happening at this kind of price range is that traders that don't really know what they're doing are selling their Bitcoin, for, of course, relatively cheap prices, because we've never been back down to this price level since, the middle of last year. They're selling their Bitcoin for relatively cheap prices and allowing the, kind of smart traders to get in and get those Bitcoins for relatively cheap prices, and then obviously run them up. And it's the same thing that we see all the time, right? It's the reason that people who are generally just not as wealthy in financial markets tend to give their money to people who are wealthier. Another way of saying this is just generally, people who are impatient in these markets tend to give their money to people who are more patient in these markets. By the way, remember how I had a lot of issues with the camera? Hopefully that's now been fixed for a few videos in a row. Just let me know if everything's all right there. But that is something that I think would make so much sense, because right now we're just enduring a lot of pain in this market right now. And I think that because of that, potentially targeting that low, I definitely don't think we're going to be breaking down, would make a lot of sense just to drop down to that kind of low again. And of course, we're seeing a lot of mounting pressure on this chart. If we look at, for example, the daily EMA ribbon, there's just so many similarities with what we had last time, guys. I mean, originally we dumped down and we were so far away from those EMAs, right? I mean, the price couldn't even rebound into them because the price dropped by so much, but then eventually we ended up rallying directly into that resistance, and we got a rejection. We fell all the way back down, and I mean, again, it's just there's so many similarities. We were so far away from the EMA ribbon because we dropped down so harshly, and then eventually we managed to rally into it, and we got a rejection, and we're now dropping back down, potentially on our way down to the bottom of this $40,000 area, only to find some more support at the very bottom, and then continue finding rejections and resistance until eventually we blow right off. Because us guys, we know in this market that this market has not fully topped out, right? I feel like I know this with a lot of certainty, purely because when you're in a parabolic market, you're not gonna top out in this kind of way, right? We're gonna get a dead cat bounce. We're just gonna be showing different, the way these kind of market rallies end is how 2017 ended, right? It's a lot more like this, where you have a ridiculous run up, so explosive, and then you crash down by 50%, and you rally up again up to $17,000, which means rallying up by about 70%, and it's just so much extreme explosive volatility in the market, and it all happens within a relatively short period of time, right? Within like a month. I mean, and I just want to put this into perspective, right? Like within a month over here, the market drops, actually within about 7 days, the market drops down by about 43%, and then rallies up by about 53%. Sorry, my numbers were a bit wrong there, but still broadly the same point, and that's all happening. Is it actually within a month or a little bit less? It's within about 3 weeks. And if you consider what happened 3 weeks after this all-time high, we just fell by about you know, kind of 18%, right? I mean, we didn't even get such an explosive drop. And this is my point. It's like last time within the same time frame of 21 days when Bitcoin topped at 20K for the first time, you know, it ranged massively. It went all the way down, all the way up, and all the way back down. And here it's just selling off, right? I mean, it's just not that irrational, right? I mean, the fact that we're getting constant selling pressure, you know, tells us that it's just not as bad as what happened over here. Because what happened over here is that people just couldn't fucking believe it, right? Like, people couldn't believe it. There was so much emotional volatility. We don't have that right now in this market. And that's why I feel like, you know, obviously the bull cycle can't be over. And when we consider all of these similarities, and guys, like, take a look at this. If I show you the 𝗢𝗙𝗥𝗙𝗘𝗦 cloud and we just take note of this other similarity right here, the market ends up having, you know, quite a bit of resistance from the 4-hour time frame, which actually rejects the market a few times. But then when we get this swing failure pattern, we at the same time establish a bullish 𝗢𝗙𝗥𝗙𝗘𝗦 cloud, which we completely don't use at all, and we start establishing resistance, which we kind of start using to send the market lower again. And I mean, just look at what's happening right here. Again, we were finding some resistance from the red 𝗢𝗙𝗥𝗙𝗘𝗦 cloud on the 4-hour time frame up here. You know, it was working very well as resistance. We formed the swing failure pattern. That's exactly where we found an 𝗢𝗙𝗥𝗙𝗘𝗦 cloud, but we didn't use it. I mean, we didn't even trade inside of the cloud, guys. Just look at the similarities here. It's almost like, you know, God has just got his paintbrush and is painting the same damn thing again, just wondering how many people are going to see it. That's why I said at the very beginning of this video that there's just too many similarities here to be ignoring this chart right now, right? I mean, we're forming exactly the same things, potentially getting ready to find a little bit of resistance if we rally a little bit higher. And, you know, I mean, this situation is a little bit different because this is all happening across the holiday period of Christmas and New Year's, right? I mean, this market has just done absolutely jack shit over the past like week, right? If you look at what's been happening here over the past kind of 6 days, we've been trading in, you know, like a 2.7% range, a $1,200 area, and for the most part, most of that trading actually was confined to an even smaller, you know, kind of $700 range, right? So the market just wasn't moving much over this period, and I think a large part of that is because the market has matured so much, and so naturally a matured market is going to be confined to, you know, the more regular kind of working hours and working week of, you know, just traders, right? I mean, a lot of people are taking weekends off and taking holidays off from trading and so on, and so the market just doesn't move too much. And you can see that when you look at the volume as well, staying fairly low. I mean, Bitcoin is a market that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of the year, but you know, it still does very much you know, seem to be complying with those more kind of, you know, signs of maturity. You know, another thing that I want to draw to your attention right here is the dollar as well. This is really concerning me. I feel like the dollar is looking really, really strong, and if the dollar is looking strong, then, you know, Bitcoin naturally is going to be in a bit of a weak position. And we know this pretty well because if we look at, you know, the kind of time that the dollar started rising really nicely again, it was like the end of October, beginning of November. And again, if we take this onto the Bitcoin chart and we look at what happened kind of end of October, beginning of November, this is more or less where the Bitcoin dump started. And it's you know, you can't, again, like when I talk about signs that you can't ignore, this is just too obvious. I mean, if you reject these ideas, I'm sorry, but you've got strong biases and you're not able to kick them to the side. Like, really, you are lacking so much objective thought in this market, and it's going to hurt you a lot because really this market has just had a very obvious inverse correlation with the dollar right here. I mean, if we drop a vertical line right here showing you where the rally for the dollar really starts to kick off, it just directly lines up with where Bitcoin starts to crash. It just makes total sense. And so, you know, right now, if we take this off and we go right back to this dollar chart, when I tell you guys that the dollar looks strong, I mean, you know, I mean, it's basically managed to rise up massively, and this is a big gain for the dollar. I know it might not sound like a lot, but fuck me, 4% is huge in, you know, for the dollar index. This is showing that it gained 4% strength in this index against other currencies around the world, and at the moment it's just started to slowly trend downwards. And you guys know what this pattern is, right? I mean, if you've been watching this channel for a while and you've been hitting that subscribe button, liking these videos and watching them all, shout out to those of you who do all of those things. I love you all so much. You're gonna know very well that a clear classic continuation pattern in these markets is where the market rises up fairly quickly, and then it slowly trends down, getting ready to rise up again. Also known as, what I always talk about, is that classic staircase pattern where we're trending up, slowly moving down, and getting ready to move up again. And that's exactly what I think the dollar is potentially in right now. It's been in such a strong position for quite some time. If we look at this, it actually broadly lines up with where Bitcoin managed to set its first all-time high at $65,000 around the middle of last year, and then we see the dollar really climbing up, quite aggressively, breaking through key resistance. And I mean, obviously that you could point at resistance on this chart right now where the dollar should be getting ready to top out a little bit, but obviously just in this short term it does look fairly strong, and I actually can't really see much I mean, yeah, there is a fair bit of resistance. There's quite a few highs over here for the dollar. There's some interaction around this 96.3 level as well, but I mean, it still, I think, has so much room to rise up towards that 100 area right there on this chart. And again, I mean, what this can translate for Bitcoin into could potentially be quite disastrous, and that's why I'm saying that potentially a little bit more of a drop would just make so much sense for me in this state, in this market. And I'm not even worried about it, because I've told you guys that I shifted my focus onto, I mean, while the market here was doing absolutely nothing, I told you guys that I was in VPAD enjoying this massive ride up right here on this chart, where again, I mean, if we just look at the price action, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, managing to rise up from below $1 to above $2, and like I'm saying, guys, this 𝗧𝗓 thing, I really expect it to be the next one. Obviously I made a lot of money on this, a lot of you guys have as well, and 𝗧𝗓 is very similar to VLaunch in that it has so much influencer backing, right? I mean, there's so many YouTubers on this that it's made, like the co-founder is 𝗪𝗩𝗪𝗓, the big YouTuber with like 500k subscribers, right? Like obviously he's going to be attracting an audience which is more masses, less concentrated, less serious people, but this is an altcoin at the end of the day, and altcoins live and thrive off hype. And you guys know my take, right? I don't give a fuck about any of these coins. I really don't care about them. I have absolutely no well, it's a little bit misleading, because with 𝗧𝗓, I actually, the project is, allowing you to spend crypto in the real world, so I think that's pretty cool. But for the most part, I don't think these things need tokens, and I've told Carl this, I've told everyone this, right? Like I have these kind of mental blocks, but I'm still not going to refuse to buy them if I think that they'll make me money. And that's exactly what I did with VPAD, and that's what I think 𝗧𝗓 is going to do. And like I said, it's tradable on Bybit. You can get free 𝗧𝗓 tokens when you sign up using my link in the description, and you've literally only got like 24 hours for it in order to make that account, sign up, and make your first Bitcoin deposit. You have completely run out of time at this point if you haven't done so already, so definitely make sure that you do take this opportunity while you can. It is not going to be here tomorrow, so this is very much the time to take action if you haven't done so already. And of course, if you want to jump inside of my trading group and watch me trading in real time, you can do that by following these steps on screen. Click on the first link in the description down below, and then on the @4flies button at the bottom of any post inside of 4flies Gold, and then on send message to ask me how to join 4flies VIP, and we'll get you all that information very, very soon. And again, just moving us back to this chart right here, I just want to double check that I haven't missed anything right here. And I guess, yeah, the final thing to mention on this chart right now is where this could take Bitcoin, because I did mention to you guys like a target of about $40,000, and I want to show you how I got to that number, because really what happened here is that Bitcoin ended up forming this pattern right here where it dropped a lot, and it had the swing failure pattern, and it continued dropping down, and it was just an absolutely terrible range. And it looks like Bitcoin is doing something quite similar again. And if you measure how high Bitcoin managed to rise from that low that it set all the way up to the brand new all-time high, that was a 133% rise, or $39,000 gain for Bitcoin's price. And if we were to get the same $39,000 rise for Bitcoin right now, that is going to push us over the $80,000 mark at exactly, roughly this kind of $81,000 area right here. And that's only with a $39,000 gain. If we get a similar percentage gain, well, then we're looking at, see that this right now is a 93% gain. If we manage to rise up even higher and we get a 133% gain, which is a lot more similar to what we saw before, that is then putting us at just shy of $100,000. Guys, the key thing that I want to you know, because you guys know me, like I'm not a this is not a moon boy channel. This is not where I get my lotion out and I start jacking myself off to really high price predictions. I don't do that. It's not going to put money in my pocket. But one thing that I do very well is I try and position myself to be bearish at market tops and bullish at market bottoms. And obviously I don't always manage to do that, but right now I feel like we're in a situation where people are just so overwhelmingly bearish for the most part. Sentiment is really bad for the most part. And of course, just, you know, knowing that you close your laptop on, say, the 22nd of December, you know, just before Christmas, and you open it up now on the first Monday of the new year, and Bitcoin's still trading at the same fucking price or even lower, it's going to frustrate a lot of people, right? It's going to really upset a lot of people and make them very worried about where Bitcoin might be going. And again, I think that's exactly what we needed in this market right now, to reset things and remind people that actually these markets can drop by quite a lot, and if you're too desperate to be here, then, well, you should sell. And obviously you'd be selling at the very bottom if you have that kind of approach, and that's why I think that we are looking at a potential rise up to some very, very high levels. Because again, you know, one of the key points that I've rested my whole argument on for this rally right here, I'm sorry, for this drop right here, is that Bitcoin has not dropped by more than 40%, and usually when Bitcoin drops by very close to 40%, it manages to rise up massively afterwards, right? And I've made that point so many times in my recent videos. So if you did manage to see that and you were able to you know, gain some value from those videos and demonstrations I was giving you, then again, just do me a favor right here for the algorithm, smash up the likes and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I mean, you know, really, Bitcoin is forming things that it's done so many times before that, like I said, I mean, we can drop even more and it's not going to change the picture. It would actually make even more sense if we end up dropping down to this level and causing a little bit more fear, like I said, forming that potential swing failure pattern where we swing down, we actually sweep the prior low, but we fail to carry on in that price direction, and then we rally back up. And that is exactly what a swing failure pattern is, exactly like what we did right here. You know, one of the other key things on this chart that I've noticed here, which I want to talk about, is that Bitcoin has actually got this area of resistance right here, this line of resistance, which it was interacting with for quite some time, and we've actually just kind of been bouncing off it over these past few days around the New Year's Day. And you know, if we're able to hold above this could turn into something pretty damn bullish for Bitcoin. And there is also a few other ways you could draw this line, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be drawn this way. You could extend it out a little bit as well, but the overall point is broadly the same, is that Bitcoin right now is just, you know, I mean, it has, you know, still, it's got mixed signals. It's in a consolidation range. It's in a bearish trend overall. But again, at what point do we start considering, you know, talking about a reversal? And to me, just given the fact that the dump has hit, you know, that 40% level, it's more or less slowed down. I mean, it really has stopped and slowed down by quite a bit. You know, to me, it just makes sense that we start to, you know, really upset even more people now when they've already sold their Bitcoin by continuing to rally up again, which is what happens so many times in this market. I mean, like I said, this is why markets function as a tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. And that's why, you know, one of the key things that I preach about to my VIPs, shout out to those of you who are inside of 𝗓𝗡ly's VIP by following these 3 steps on screen. One of the key principles I always reaffirm is that when the market gets boring, it is not an excuse to stop paying attention, because it is at precisely those times where the best opportunities are coming up. And I always say this, you guys who've been around for quite some time will remember that, you know, one of the key arguments I make is that it is the future millionaires in these markets. They are being built right now. You know, the ones who aren't stopping, you know, analyzing the market and keeping a calm head here, people who are not tuning out, those are the ones that are going to be rewarded. And trust me, it's going to look really easy in hindsight. You know, if Bitcoin does manage to rise up, and those of you who are patient and stick to it and manage to trade it, end up making a lot of money, it's going to look so easy. But nobody is going to remember all the pain that you had to sit through right here. And again, I mean, if anything, you know, that to me is even more proof that yeah, I mean, I have to start turning a little bit more bullish in this market. If we take a look at the fear and greed index right here, we have recovered by a fair bit, but we're still overall in fairly fearful territory, and we've been in fearful territory now for quite some time, right? I mean, it's been kind of pretty much since, yeah, I guess the middle of November, kind of 17th of November that we finally fell out of that bullish and neutral territory, and we dropped down around the 16th of November. We dropped down from bullish territory, greedy territory, to neutral and fearful, and we've been in this area for a lot of time, you know, and we don't stay in these areas for a long time. You know, a lot of people start thinking that these things are permanent, but they never are, and I think that's one of the most important things to keep in mind is, you know, people start thinking very irrational things out of sadness and desperation, and not even desperation, but yeah, just feeling bad. And again, the markets are never extreme in either direction, right? They have to correct, and that's why I'm telling you guys what I'm seeing right here in this market. But there you go. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. You know exactly what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell. Guys, one final time, if you want free 𝗪𝗓 tokens, I've already shown you why I think it's going to blow off so much. It's the same reasons I was telling you that I thought 𝗧𝗢𝗢𝗏 was going to blow off so much. You can buy it on Bybit. If you don't already have a Bybit account, then bam, it's right here. And like I said, I mean, this is the only exchange that I use. I only trade Bitcoin on this exchange, right? And you know, I mean, I've been working with them for years, and I absolutely love the exchange. It's been very stable, very secure to my knowledge. They've never even been hacked, which is pretty cool, because other exchanges like Binance have been hacked in the past. And so, you know, obviously security is extremely important when you've got your crypto funds, because it's very easy to you know, for you to lose your funds in attacks, and that's why I think it's important to, you know, make sure that you're choosing good exchanges. And if you already have an account on Bybit, but you still want the free money, like I said, you know, get up to 4.1 thousand US from me when you sign up using my link in the description down below. But you're also going to get free 𝗪𝗓 tokens when you follow the steps that I'm going to put in Telegram, which you can find by clicking on this link in the description down below. You know, if you want to be able to redeem that and you already have an account, then like I said, you can just make a new one, and you will get all of that free cash, which you can trade with and do whatever the hell you like. So there you go, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm really excited for 𝗪𝗓. As soon as it launches, I will be talking to you guys about it as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We are venturing out a little bit more into altcoins this year. You guys know that I don't like altcoins for the most part, but I do like making money. So I'm willing to kind of put my hands up a little bit there and say that, yeah, I should have jumped on this train a little bit earlier. It's definitely not like I'm late. I've still made a lot of money on altcoins. You guys know about the plays that I made with Ethereum, for example, buying Ethereum at its absolute local lows around over here, and selling some of my Ethereum tokens around over here, and still holding on to the rest while we're up over here now. So I'm very happy with that performance. And so you know, I'm no stranger to playing altcoins, but I am going to, I think, ramp that up a little bit more in 2022. So there you go, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Hope you had a great celebration for New Year's, or if you didn't, for whatever reason, then hope you're doing better now. And yeah, I'll see you all in the very next video. Thank you for tuning in. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.